Hello and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me Christine. It's great to be here.
I'm looking forward to having you on this podcast today, Lisa, and chatting a little bit about your story and where that brought you. Before we started the interview, I said, you've got this beautiful book behind you. I want to hear a little bit about
Mm.
your book as well. So let's start with where in the world are you tuning in from?
Yeah, I am in Napa Valley, California.
Beautiful, beautiful area. I've been there myself, and yeah, it was enchanting.
Yeah, it's pretty special. Very, very magical and abundant.
Amazing. Well, there you go. So let's start a little bit without your story. Let's just dive into the good stuff. And
Yeah,
I say good stuff tentatively because I know that it is a powerful story, one of, pain and also power. And so let's start a little bit with your history, your background. Where did this all start for you, this big change in your life?
yeah. Well, my book is It All Begins With You, and it is a story, my memoir, really, and it has actionable moments that I call me moments. At the end of each chapter, there's 10 chapters, and the book outlines very raw and personal stories, things that I experienced. So it was a kind of a chunk of time where a lot of things happened very quickly, very life altering. So I'll start with kind of that timeline of the book. I was living with my then husband, and we decided to move. And that was because we had a big storm in Northern California, destroyed our home, all the neighbors' homes, flooding, trees down, like really, really serious. And it was an opportunity for us to move to Southern California, which is, if you're familiar, it's a very different cultural place. We were there a lot because his family is there, his work was there, so we would visit. And this divine message came through and said, "It's time to move down there. It's time for you to go." And I resisted it. I did not want to go. My friends, my family, I had grown up in this part of the state, so my business was thriving. I had a digital marketing agency. It was doing so, so well. And then it got interrupted. And so I said yes because it felt like a yes, even though I was resisting it. And from that point forward, it was just nonstop challenge, change, disruption, and a lot of beautiful things that happened as a result of that. So we moved to LA 5 months in. His sister and her daughter, who was 6 years old, show up knocking on the door, and we were their last resort, and they had been kicked out of their house, went to mom's house, went to dad's house, ended up with us. And we had the space, physical and emotional space, to kind of handle this. And so we did. And we came to find out that there was a lot of things that they weren't sharing with us until we saw them in person. And so, we gave mom an opportunity to go take care of herself, get the help that she needed, and we decided to be the Monday through Friday parents to our 6-year-old niece who was not reading and writing, who was just coming out of potty training, who was, very, very challenged in ways that we weren't fully aware of. So we took that on, and it was insane, quite honestly. Very, very difficult. Um, 2 hours of homework every night. I was at the parent-teacher conference. Mom wasn't there. We learned that she had only done 30 days of kindergarten. So
Mm,
we were dealing with this emergency.
mhm,
And as a woman, my maternal instinct kicked on, and I just really, got really close with her. We spent a lot of time together one-on-one, and developed a bond. Um, and I just felt really compelled to help. So I did. And, through that period, I was able to see how the marriage was not strong. There was a lot of toxic elements, a lot of gaslighting, a lot of challenge, no thank yous, and that wasn't the right place. So when my niece completed her first grade year, after which she won the Best Reader Award and Most Improved Student, which was amazing.
Wow.
I decided to get a divorce. And that was, had its own set of challenges because I felt like a failure and friends would question me and make me feel really guilty about it. But in my heart, I knew that that was not it. And I went through with it and spent a year in healing. And for me, that looked like having a psychotherapist every week. I saw a Reiki master every week. I did a lot of work and study around astrology and tarot. I studied shamanic healing, bought a one-way ticket to Bali, stayed there for 2.5 months, living and working and eat, pray, love,
Yeah.
and learned a lot about, yeah, myself because I was rebuilding. I was so small. I was nothing, really. I had just come down to just nothing. And it was this process of learning about myself through a soul-centered life and a soul-centered experience and kind of building outward from there. So my book chronicles all of that and how low I got to then rebuild myself into where I am now.
Powerful, powerful stuff. And many people in that same situation, they will they will collapse under the weight of it. And I'm sure it was heavy, so, so
Mm.
heavy, everything you were going through. And I really felt viscerally the way you said, I was just so small. And, you took so much strength and just pushed and bought a one-way ticket to Bali and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna eat, pray, love my way through this," which is my favorite movie, by the way. So that was pretty cool. But I'm gonna go and I'm gonna rebuild myself, and that's so kudos to you. Amazing
Oh, thank
work.
you.
And
Thank you.
I mean, you radiate now, so I can only
Thanks.
assume, spoiler alert, that
Yeah,
there was
spoiler.
some rebuilding that happened there.
Oh yeah. Many layers of rebuilding and rebirthing and, just on and on. It doesn't stop, I guess, but this to me felt like a really big lift where, I dug through, I went back to my childhood. I went into the wound with my mother. I studied that. I healed that. I did a lot of work around that. And that really allowed me to unlock these newer spaces and be more expansive and vibrant. So very worthwhile.
Cool. I'm wildly curious. Did you end up in
Yeah.
Ubud and all that
Yes,
as
I went to
well?
Ubud. I went to
Oh,
Ubud
amazing.
and I hesitated because I had heard that it was like, quote, touristy, which is not at all the word I would describe it. But um, I started in northern Bali. I
Mm,
went on a retreat there, so it was kind of more locals, I guess, by the volcano, if you know Agung.
yeah, I
And
do.
then I ended up in Ubud. Yeah, you've been.
Yeah, yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Nice.
inspired by the movie. I was like, we have to go here.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's so special. It's so special. Like
yeah.
Ubud is just magical. And then I went to Australia as well, which was having their winter time. So that was
Okay.
really interesting. It was like a year of darkness. I experienced winter solstice twice. It was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I love it. Okay, so you've done these amazing trips, you've done these amazing experiences. You've really started your rebuilding process. You went and you did your Reiki, you got into tarot, you had this soul-centered journey. What was reintegration like for you? Because you've now
Mm.
come back to Napa.
Yeah.
Um, how did you bring all your lessons into your new life?
Yeah, such a great question. So one example, returning from Bali back to the US was just the biggest culture shock. It took me like 3 days to get home because there was all these snafus. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this a sign? Am I not supposed to be back there?
Fair.
Yes, I was. But
Okay.
and I'll tell you the time frame. That was 2019. So I did all of that work, all of that stuff, the divorce 2018, a year of healing through 2019. So I came back to my community and I just was so different from the inside out. I felt like, oh my gosh, my life has to reflect this differently. And so, I had been doing marketing and I started to create my coaching program, which was the result of my own work on myself. And I put it in this 5-step signature system rooted in positive psychology, but layering on things like shamanic healing or tarot cards or having a balanced toolkit, which is your resource, your daily ritual, your daily practice that ensures you're going to be okay no matter what comes your way. So
Love
that was,
that.
yeah, Kundalini yoga was another thing I studied very intensely at that time. And that study is different than other forms of yoga in that you are meant to clear your subconscious so you can hold space for others.
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
scary, a lot of work.
I bet.
But again, the benefits are tremendous. So that has stayed with me. I have a daily practice. It changes throughout the seasons, it changes throughout the years, but I will never let that go. And all my clients have to have one. If they don't have one, they're making one. And it can be something like I'm going to take 2 minutes of breathing every morning, or I'm going to not listen to music when I make my coffee and I'm going to make it a ritual. It's so personal. It's so personal.
Mm.
So that's one way. And the coaching program is another way. And then just I think having a different, whenever we travel, we educate ourselves in such a different way. It's so emotional. In this case, for me, it was very spiritual. I stayed for so long in Bali, I became like really protective of the Balinese people.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was on their schedule. I'm like working, waking up at 5 a.m. They're putting out their offerings, they're talking to their deities. I'm practicing my yoga, I'm doing meditation, I'm doing my own form of that, ritual. And I had a beautiful man who ended up being my driver who had spent a lot of time in America, come back to Bali, started a business there, and I really connected with him. So I hired him all the time. And he just educated me. He said, here in Bali, we have a special type of Muslim culture that's different than the rest of the world. But also, we really practice that we accept our relationship to other humans, to the plants, to nature, and we honor the dark and the light. And that really resonated with me because I had been through so much darkness. I was like, oh my God, you're right. It's such a teacher to have that awareness. So I feel like I'm still integrating that whole experience, to be honest with you.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. These lessons, they just keep coming back, and then you have a conversation, with somebody who's like-minded, and you remember them on another level. So,
Right.
yeah, yeah. Okay, and so you came back. You went back to Napa. You started a coaching business,
Started my coaching.
and
Yeah.
you have clients that you work with, and then you wrote a book.
And then I wrote a
Am I
book. Yeah.
reflecting all this?
I mean, yes, there's periods of time where this all happened. I came back. I thought about the book in 2020, actually. So we went into shutdown mode. Everyone's at
Mhm.
home. People start to reach out because I start to share, on social media and my emails, hey, this is what I've been doing, everybody. If you need something, this is what's worked for me. And so those clients start to reach out. And then 2020, everyone's at home and they really start to reach out. So I'm hosting meditation groups online every month, do that for a year. Um, People are connecting with one another in these meditation groups, and that starts to form more things and more coaching, more partnerships, group coaching, that sort of thing. I had been teaching yoga a little bit. I went into like full teaching mode as a resource, really, as a tool for others. Um, and then the healing work that I've been doing, which kind of shows up differently for different people, but tools like shamanic healing, tools like tarot cards or oracle readings, depending on where a client is at, and we start the coaching, they set out these goals, they have these intentions, and inevitably there's a block that shows up. And it could be a previous trauma or um, a belief system, something that needs addressing, whether it's a deeper healing, a deeper wound, or just even like, hey, have you thought about it this way? So those things start to kind of like come together for me. And the clients are happy. Everyone's doing really well. They're getting what they want. They're excited about life again. They're balanced. They spend time with their loved ones and it's more meaningful. Like the world just has more meaning for them. So that's another way.
Okay. Okay.
Oh
And
no.
that was what I was going to ask next is
Mhm.
sorry, I think my internet connection is
Okay,
unstable
yeah.
here as well.
Can you
Sorry, I
hear me
apologize.
okay? That's
I can hear you
okay.
fine. Yeah.
Okay,
I can
wonderful.
hear you fine. But my next question was exactly around that, around your the blocks that people get to. So we 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 go on our own journeys, right? Everyone has a reckoning of some kind. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's, heading to another country and learning spiritually what's going on with them. Sometimes it's a sickness or an illness that kind of hits them in a way. Whatever
Yeah.
it is that somebody goes through, there is a change, and then there's this beautiful awakening that happens almost across the board. It depends on the person, I suppose, but almost
Sure.
across the board, someone will look back, 1 year, 10 years, decades later and go, you know what, it's actually the best thing that ever happened to me.
Hmm.
And so my question for you is how do you to kind of pull some of your information from you, how do you support clients who hit that block that are kind of like,
Mm.
I'm back in the States, I'm back in my life, and I'm forgetting about all of the beauty, all of the
Mm.
things that I learned, all those lessons, how do you support those
Yeah.
clients?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. I think so much of it is about slowing down. I think our culture really feeds this action, go, achieve, very masculine type energy. And what I notice is that when people slow down, that's when they have the most amazing epiphanies and their life really does change. And the way I envision it is it's just an imbalance of energy. It's like here we are, our bodies always want to be at homeostasis, like equal parts action, equal parts rest. Oftentimes the action is way, way too active so that we forget how to be restful. And I know this because I've lived it. I am living proof. I have burnt myself out building a marketing business, working from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and doing that like 7 days a week, thinking that it was okay. And I had to do that. So I think there's this process of slowing down, which really happens through a daily practice, which is why I find it so important, that can build a really strong foundation.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I'm sure that the listeners listening are probably feeling the way I am, kind of remembering all those beautiful lessons that they learned and going, "Oh man, I got to reconnect to this more feminine side of me. I've got to reconnect to the slow down, because I'm a new
Yeah.
mother, and so I
Yeah.
I kind of forgot for a while there. I'm like, wait a minute, I used to have a daily practice. So, thank you for
I
the
know.
reminder there.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's not easy. Like I'm telling you all this, the simple is not easy, right? Especially when you have a new baby to take care of that depends on you at all hours of the day.
Many
But the
hours.
be yeah, your
Yeah.
time isn't yours anymore. So I get that. I really do. And I do have clients that are starting to build their families, if not add to their families. And I just stress how if there is no you to give out energy, what happens then?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's where those burnout moments come in.
And so often we need them because they are teachers. I needed that to force me to slow down, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, fair. And so how do you find life is now, for you? You've got this book. How is that going for you?
The book has been such a great resource for people. It's been so nice to share. I was very, very scared to share this information, quite honestly. It's very personal. I changed the names of a few people that are important
Mhm.
in the book as characters because I just had apprehension about sharing this stuff that I was not used to talking about. And then when I did, it it has kind of taken on a life of its own in the best possible way. And I feel free. I have no more shame. Shame went away along the way, along the way of publishing and writing. And I just get such beautiful feedback and stories from clients, from people that have read it, that it has made a difference to them. It has given them permission to feel the things that they have felt and not feel bad about it or shame or like they've done something wrong. I talk about being a sensitive person, which is something that I've always struggled with. Even as a child, it was looked upon as a negative thing, and I really work to um, reframe that for others and see it as a strength and a skill. And so when I hear feedback that, oh my gosh, I'm like that too, it's just so it's beautiful. It's just the most beautiful thing.
How uplifting. I know for me with my book, when someone says, it was like a catharsis. When I read it, I saw
Mm.
myself in your experience, etc. That becomes like, even if that was the only person in this world that read it, it would be worth it.
A
So
100%.
I
Oh
can
my
hear
gosh.
it in your voice. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it still surprises me, you know, it's still pretty new. This is my first book. I took me 5 years to get this out. So to cross that finish line is huge. And then to have the response that I've had just feels, I mean, like one of the best moments of my life.
Sounds very aligned for you as well. I mean, to build a coaching business in the process of a pandemic and to have the successes that you've had to write this book, it sounds very aligned. It sounds like you are
Mhm.
in your dharma, like in your place.
Absolutely, it feels that way. Thank you.
Absolutely. So what can people hope to gain from the book? So if someone's reading this book, I know already they're going to see themselves in it, in their, potentially their sensitivities, their experiences, have a catharsis. I know you also mentioned action items. So tell us a little
Yeah.
bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was going to say. I think one thing that I really highlight is how we are complex as humans. We're not just physical, we're not just mental, we're spiritual, we're emotional, we're all of these things in one. And so when I think I bring to the table and what I do really well is live by example of this and show people that spirituality is integrated into everything we do. And it's just a part of living. And there are many resources and many ways to be spiritual. Just as there are many humans on the planet. So I really want that to be a strong message. And I give very practical advice as well. So the tools, the me moments at the end of each chapter are action items. Most of them are free. A couple of them require some planning, but it's as simple as minding your words, being conscious of the words you say out loud because they are powerful and we often forget that. So there's a section on that. There's a section on solo travel. Big believer, as you have heard, in solo travel.
Hmm.
And I encourage people to journal about what they might do and where they might go. If they can't afford it at the moment, that's okay. Just put it on the list. Get really clear with yourself about why that's important and what it would do for you and write it down. So the action stuff is super important and part of the process of healing and of growth and as we know makes a big difference.
Certainly, yeah, you can read about it all day long, but putting those emotions, those thoughts into action can be, really what solidifies it. So great work there. I myself am thinking, oh man, I should read this book. So
Please,
it's it
yes,
sounds
would love
fantastic.
it.
Where can people find this?
Yeah, it's on Amazon, ebook on Amazon, paperback and hardback. It's also in Barnes and Noble. So you can go to the store and ask them to order if it's not on the shelf. So yeah, pretty widely available.
Great work. Okay. And then what about your coaching? What would be other ways to connect with you, Lisa?
Yeah, I have an amazing online community, The Hive, which is clients and colleagues and really like-minded individuals, people that are looking for tools, for resources, and wanting to share with one another about their own growth experiences. So that's a free online community to join. I actually host a lot of events. I do weekly meditations that are offered to that group, as well as in-person workshops and events. And then I also have a newsletter. So anyone listening can hop on, join the newsletter, get things delivered to their inbox before everybody else. So that's a really cool offering. And then my website, lots there.
Okay. Amazing. Well, I
Yeah,
will connect all that in the show notes so that people can find you.
thank you.
And then I think I would just like to finish with a little bit of a dive into what would you say if someone is feeling really, really small, if someone's feeling
Mm,
like they are at the bottom of their barrel and they don't really know where to begin, what's something that you might give them as a first step? Because it might be overwhelming to say
mm.
buy a one-way
Yeah,
ticket. What would be a first step?
yes. Well, first remember that everything is temporary and everything is changing all the time. So I think knowing that can be soothing and comforting. And remember that there's help all around you. Sometimes we get into our little bubble and we forget, oh, I have a partner or a friend or whatever that I can express these very human experiences to. Um, and then check in with your breath and your body. Oftentimes, our body is communicating to us what we're experiencing, what we're feeling, whether we're conscious of it or not. So I tend to go like this when I get tense. My shoulders come up to my ears. Notice your breath. Is it fast? Like you're panting, like you're getting through life, gripping. And then just take 5 deep breaths. And usually that can change things.
Amazing. Thank you for your advice and thank you for being on and sharing so vulnerably and
Oh,
for telling
yeah.
us about how we can connect with you and about your book.
Thank you for having me. Really loved it.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.